friends. It's your girl Renee.
Hi, it's Nadia.
And Crystal.
Yes, and today we are talking about the topic of slay in your lane. Now, slay in your lane is all about just loving the person that God created you to be and killing comparison. In our society, we have so many things around us that challenge everything that God created us to be. You get on social media, you're being reminded of what you can improve. You drive your car down the street, you're seeing, newer model cars. And so what these things do is create opportunities for us to compare our situation or where we are in our lives to other people, and it completely diminishes what God is doing in our lives. So today we're going to talk about our personal experiences with slaying in our lane, or where we stand with that, and then some things that we can apply in our lives to combat that and move forward in all the authority that God has given us.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that, or some of the examples that you guys have experienced when it comes to slaying in your lane, or, just being true to yourself?
Man, for me, a lot of it has come from feeling like I need to pursue a career that's gonna make a name for myself.
Oh my gosh.
Instead of really delving into what do I love? Who am I?
Right.
It's we compare, we see all these different people getting their degrees, they're making a certain amount of money, they're doing all these grandiose things, and I know that I have the capability to do those things too, but it's why do I have to think, I can do that too?
Right.
Why can't I slay in my lane as an esthetician? I love skincare, and then I'm also working with at-risk youth who are so wonderful and just need love.
Yeah.
That's my lane that God has me in right now. Being a ministry leader, and then knowing that that's enough.
Right.
Knowing that being a mom,
Yeah.
pouring into other children, that's gonna pour onto my child tenfold, because I'm giving of my life for other children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And knowing that that's enough. There's not a formula to what success truly is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm successful where I am.
Right. And
being
being me.
Being what God called me to be right here today.
Right. Yes. And that should be celebrated. Right.
Don't despise, what does the Bible say? Don't despise the small beginnings,
Right?
Yes.
No matter where you are, you're there for a reason. And I think discovering that reason, so being in the Word and trying to figure out your purpose, I think is huge too, right? Because you get pulled left and right in all these different directions based on what the world says and where the world says that you should be, or where you think that you should be. But when you really go to God and you try to figure out where He tells you that you're supposed to be,
Right.
and understanding that you're there for a reason and that things are going to come out of that, and it's things that you can't even see. You can't see them right now, right? It's you have no idea the seeds that you're planting and the things that you're doing, what that's gonna be 2 months from now, 6 months, a year from now, you have no idea.
Right.
So I think just really trying to just sit in that comfort and that contentment of being good exactly where you are.
Right.
That is so true. And I will say, just from an authentic place, that I am a recovering codependent, and for a long time of my life, I finally realized that I was a people pleaser, but not just people pleaser, but specifically my parents. They had set this very high bar for me to meet, and so I knew that from in their lives, this is what success looked like. And so I knew that if I played small, and the only reason I say played small is because it wasn't authentic to myself. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it just wasn't right for me, because I was, operating from this kit of what they had defined success to look at, just for their approval, for their love, for, financial assistance, whatever it is, for their affections and love. But I was really miserable on the inside. I wasn't slaying in my lane. And so finally, I had become so miserable in my life so much to where I had really desired change, right? And so I started pursuing that and started reattaching myself to different people and different environments, and was able to really start learning who I was and embracing who I was. But I had to fight my way out. I won't say that it was completely accepted and everybody was excited, because they were used to me doing the, you know, what was socially acceptable. Fitting their mold, right? So I had to kick and bust out of that thing, and it was a rude awakening for everyone. But ultimately, because I was able to be everything that God created me to be, because that's the standard that I live by. And I had to let everybody know that you should be concerned with me living to be everything God created me to be. So I understand that you want me to do this with my life, and this is what you deem acceptable, but if we're not concerned with what God's concerned about, then what are we really talking about?
What's the point?
What are we talking about?
What's the point? You know, I feel like we do get caught up in parents' expectations a lot. We do get caught up in people pleasing a lot, you know, and it veers us out of all of our purpose, walking in the authority that God has given us to be all that He has called us to be. Because we're trying to fit somebody else's mold. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And it's like, no. Whether you feel what you're doing is big or small, you know, it's all necessary. It's all important. You know what I mean? Like, from the CEO to the janitor, you know, they each play a specific part, and both are necessary. You know, so whatever God has called us to do, wherever He has us, we need to be grateful. You know, we have to be grateful and learn to love it. You know, like truly learn to love what lane God has called us to.
And be confident in that lane, right? Like when you have that confidence of like, this is where I belong, like this is where I'm supposed to be, like you carry yourself completely different, right? You go into your workplace completely different. You go in with a different attitude, like you're smiling more, you're in a good mood, you're being that for other people so that other people can have that. But like that confidence of like knowing and believing and trusting that you are where you are for a reason, and that God put you there, that people see that, right? And people are drawn to that. It is a total vibe, and people will literally come to you and they will be like, what is that? That's literally happened in my workplace, where people are like, what is it? And I'm like, they're like, what is it about you? Like, you're always smiling, you're always happy, you're in a good mood, this and that. And I'm like, honestly, it's God. Like,
isn't it beautiful when that starts happening? It's like your own lane is being carved out for you.
Yes, and you're just walking, you're just taking one step at a time, and you're just following the path that He's already made.
You don't have to make it. You just have to be obedient.
Yes.
You know, because like, just like you were saying, like at your job, people are like, what is it? I randomly started getting prayer requests, like, hey, you know, like, can you pray for me? And it's like, you don't even, like, I didn't ask to start praying for people, but then the more that I pray for people, the more I'll even just offer it. Now I'm realizing, okay, that is a lane.
Encourager,
you know, prayer warrior, for real. You know, even with all my imperfections and kookiness, you know.
It was just beautiful.
I'll pray for you hard.
She's not playing either.
And call you by name. I will. I really will.
I love it. No, absolutely. I just think about the whole essence of just appreciating yourself. You know, and we have so many things that we combat on a daily basis. They're subliminal. Right? It's so subliminal. And that's how the enemy does it. It's not like in your face, you know what I mean? But it's
that one little tiny seed, right? And all it takes is
snake comes and just slithers, and you're like, I don't even know why I want these shoes right now. You know what I mean? Like, just to be in a place of appreciation. But I'm just saying, like, we have so many things that we combat. It's always really good to refocus and recenter on something that is just true and unchanging. And so that's why I really love the Word of God. I love anything that's encouraging. Universal law, like, that gets me, because I do take on a more esoteric, like, you know, approach and thinking style, because I really feel like it's important to honoring our souls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my soul was, you know, already something that God knew was going to come into fruition before, you know, the word, like when we talk about Genesis, like he already had thought about us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's deep. So I'm going to honor myself, and that's why I like to apply more of an esoteric, you know, approach to the way that I think and I do things. But it's
And
just,
that's your lane.
yeah, it's my lane.
You know,
And I'm good with that, and it works for me.
Right.
And so, you know, for even like, you know, when it comes to matters of religion, you know, I was doing things for sake of approval, especially from my brothers and sisters that love and follow Christ, because it was something that was more pleasing and acceptable, and it was the norm. And so I had to come out of that because it didn't feel authentic to myself.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like if I'm really being true and authentic to myself that it's gonna look like Nadia and it's gonna look crystalline. Like there's no way. Like where's this formula come from for like, you know, for all of these things? It's just things that I had to present to myself in authenticity. Like, where is this coming from? Am I really being true and honoring myself when I'm doing it this way? But if I don't want to do it, like what if the Holy Spirit's telling me not to do it and you're asking me to do it and I'm like, I don't feel that in here to do that.
And that might be somebody else's lane.
Is somebody, you know, and so
and that's okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's all about us being on an individual journey. It's not about judging where we are, but loving each other right where we are.
I agree.
Yeah.
For me, I think like comparison was a huge thing for me.
Oh man.
And that was like the number one thing that I struggled with the most was with social media, right? Like it's so in your face, it's so easy to access and just be on all the time, and like you follow these people because you're like, yo, yeah, I like them as a person, or like they dress nice, or I like their fitness routine, or you know, I like the way they do their makeup. But then inevitably, like looking back now, like I found myself like I would go on there and it would just be a whole comparison game, right? Like, wow, they do their makeup so well, like I wish I could do my makeup like that, or wow, look at the way, like how nice their hair looks, or like look how good her body looks, like why doesn't my body look like that? Like, and it's all this like, why am I not like that? Why am I not like this? Why don't I look like that? Why can't I have that? Or they went on this nice vacation, I want to go on vacation even though I just came back from Mexico, or like whatever it is, you know. And it's like
extravagant.
Like,
you never
they got to go on a yacht, I didn't get to go on a yacht. Like
yacht goals. I love it. That's real.
Yeah,
it's real.
no, it is.
Yeah.
And so like for me, something that I did almost about a year ago was like cut social media out completely. And I have not been on it for an entire year, and it's like that I know from the bottom of my heart and the bottom of my spirit, like that has been probably the most healing thing for me. And I think that's where a lot of it started, because it cut that whole comparison like from the bottom, right? Like that's where the comparison was starting.
And the strongest.
So and that's where this like exactly, that's where it had a hold of me the strongest, was through those social media platforms. So cutting that out, and then plus the time that I would spend on there.
Oh man.
Right? Like
it makes me think about my life. It's
I mean, but yes, like if we're honest with ourselves, like I would spend hours a day on social media between Facebook and Instagram, like scrolling. And just, I mean, that's hours of time. Even if it's like 30 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at work, another 10 minutes at work, you know, an hour when I get home, and it sucks you in, right? And you just can't get away from it. So, like, putting that down and, like, getting rid of that, and then realizing how much time you actually have in your day to, like, do other things, and, like, to fill that space with things that, like, God has called you to do instead.
Oh my gosh.
And you can really slay in your lane.
Exactly.
You can really slay with all that time.
And it's so clarifying and refreshing, because you have that time to be in the Word of God, you know, to do your journaling, to read that book, to
focus on what your lane or lanes look like.
Or figure out, like, if you don't know where it is, which is fine, figure it out. But definitely, like, you need that time and that space to be able to figure that out, and it has to be like true and dedicated to that, right? So other things that are like pulling you here and there, like set them down.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely inspired by you saying that. So, I mean, thinking about like what would you apply this week in order to find that place? Like, what would you do different? Because I know you already are not like on the social media thing like that, Kristen. But to take it a step further, how can we amplify that? Because we're always evolving, right?
Yeah.
So,
See, she went cold turkey. For me,
I did.
yeah, for me, I look at my time. I look at everything.
Yeah.
Like a gift. So with gifts that God gives us, we're supposed to return back 10%. So with my time and the days that I have, I say, okay, 10% of those days, I won't be on social media at all. And then it actually evolved and it turned into, okay, now I'm only on social media about 10% of the days out of the month. So now I have my Instagram app or my Facebook and things like that. I'll log in if I need to post something and I'll take it right back off. I might love a few, and then I take the apps off my phone.
Limiting it.
Yeah, like to where it's not on my phone for a certain amount of days. And then when I know I need to upload things for promotion purposes, then I take it back on. Or if I just had a good day and I want to post pictures of me and my kid, like I'll put it back on, I'll post, take it right back off. Because
very intentional.
Yeah, I'm intentional. Like I've set it up that way so that I can catch up with what my people are doing. I'm not out of the loop, but I'm still able to use social media for what I feel God wants me to use it for my platform, to stay connected to certain people and to promote certain things, and then let it be.
That's good.
Like, it's not my entertainment anymore. I'm not just sitting there scrolling anymore. Like, I will for a short amount of time. Then, now that I've put into practice those things, you're so much more cognizant of what you're doing when you force yourself not to have it.
Yeah.
How about you? What you gonna do?
So I'm notorious. My husband and I are notorious Instagram scrollers, especially during waking hours. If you're not familiar with waking hours, 2 to 5 a.m. So we'll get up and we'll be bored. Instead of turning the TV on and Netflixing, we'll go on Instagram and then we'll go back to sleep. But I will say that for sake of me not needing to do that, I will be more intentional with finding a dull, dim light or something, and I'll journal during that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that instead of Instagram.
Yeah, because cold turkey might be hard for you.
It is. It's
it's hard.
It is.
I feel like you should do that if you have a reason to do that. But
and I had a reason.
I definitely.
Let me make that clear. I had a reason for going off of it. Maybe we'll get into that later.
Right.
Another video for another
that's
a whole nother day.
Exactly. Yes. But there was a deeper reason to why I got off. Right, but then it just kind of, the more time I spent away from it, I was realized that I didn't need it.
It's nice.
And I would realize the time that I was spending on that, now I'm able to do this stuff, whether it's journaling, it's reading the Bible, creating a vision board, whatever it is that I feel like God is asking me to do in that moment, and even if it's taking that time to ask God what He wants me to do, right, and getting that clarity from Him, because if you're spending that time on through scrolling or whatever you're doing, He can't talk to you through that, right? So creating that open space for Him to speak to you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I love that. Well, I just want to thank everybody for watching this video, Slay in Your Lane. If you do not, feel inspired after listening to all these amazing tips and techniques, we're all actively applying. Some working to apply on a consistent basis.
Get off of social media.
Get off of social media.
Or take a few days.
Watch this video and then make some changes.
Make a little change.
But as you know, slaying in your lane is a beautiful thing. You are beautiful. You are important. You're everything that God says that you are and nothing less. So remind yourself of those things on a daily basis and just take small little baby steps like Nadia was saying earlier, like Crystal was saying. Little baby steps. It doesn't have to be anything major, but just the small things, and celebrate yourself because of those things, because it's going to end up amounting to something huge into your life. So if you've created something, you have an idea, go ahead and post it in the comments below. We definitely want to hear and encourage you and support you along in your journey. Like this video, share it with family, friends, anybody that you know it might be having some challenges and slaying in their own lane as well. Definitely want to keep it going in positivity and loving each other right where we are.
And subscribe.
Yes, subscribe, guys. I just want to thank you again for watching this video. Please stay tuned for the next upload. We will be posting for now on a weekly basis, but stay tuned and follow us on social media.
God bless you.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.